Good morning, everyone. It's Saturday, which means it's time for yet another salty Saturday morning. I am your host, Mr. Kadish. Get it right. And joining me, as always, is my fantastic panel of nerds. And I want to thank these nerds for carrying on the good fight last week while Dutch and I were both indisposed. Somehow you guys were able to match both my energy and my seamless transitions into super chats. And the fact that you got Scott Adams as a guest on the podcast was very, very impressive. Scott Adams, creator of Dilbert. Everyone knows and loves him.
Is that who that was?
No, that wasn't Scott Adams. No.
All right.
That looks just like him, though.
That would have been awesome.
Adams impersonator. Yeah,
I would have been upset if that was the case. But yeah, that's cool.
Yes, and now I know that if I want Tom to show up on time and prepared to talk about actually every topic on the show, make him the host.
Make him the host.
Yeah. Again, true to form, Tom is not here because he's busy eating cereal.
Well, he's still recovering from last week. It was a lot of energy.
Maybe it's a lot of work.
Maybe he's having toast and peanut butter this week.
Yeah.
Maybe.
It's a lot of work producing Salty Saturdays, in addition to all of his Midnight Edge stuff. So he probably got overwhelmed.
Well, to be fair, Saturdays is one of the days of the week where you can go to every YouTube channel and Tom's on it.
It's true.
This is true.
So
that's very true.
True.
Yeah.
But hopefully he wakes up and joins us at some point during the day. But Dutch Butters is back again. How you doing, Dutch?
Back again.
I'm a little tired.
Dutch is back.
Battlefield 6 free weekend is in play, and I stayed up late last night when I got home from work and died excessively a lot over and over and over.
That's what us old guys do in those shooter games, dude. Yeah. Those are not made for older guys anymore.
No, but I'm learning. I'm gonna be one of those guys. My Twitch reflex is awful. And, it's really funny because I'll just get alive, headshot, get alive, dead shot. It's unbelievable.
Bro, I have zero Twitch reaction.
But I stayed up way too late and I didn't have time to go get coffee this morning. So now I'm trying to not vomit because I was forced to go to the fridge and get a fucking 9 a.m. monster. And that doesn't really work.
That's not good at any time of day. Lord.
No, it's good after about noon.
This podcast not brought to you by Monster.
No, not at all.
Brought to you.
Why y'all drinking that battery acid?
What do you got, Brian? What do you got? Show us.
A Barks root beer and a couple caffeine tabs.
Oh my god.
Hey,
I remember the days when Brian was addicted to the what was that? The
Red Bull.
Panera Bread. Panera Bread unlimited
Dude, the
energy drink.
Chargers, bro, for real.
Yeah.
That was basically crack.
You had the monthly pass, and you would just go there every day.
Dude,
and get refills.
I had the sip and save pass where you can go. You can get every 2 hours. You can get a drink, and I was just down there every 2.5 hours, just pounding Chargers all day long. And then they outlawed them. They banned them.
Good.
So
I'm pretty sure there was a meth in those things. They were way too good to be real.
I did try to make it healthy by having some Trader Joe's fiberful granola bars for breakfast. So
Trader Joe's fiberful.
Gotta get regular. Gotta get regular, Dutch. Yeah.
I'm old. Fiber is important.
All right. And the Lord of the Shells, the king of the pineapple pizza, the man, the myth, the legend. He is back again. Odin from OMB Reviews. How you doing, Odin?
I'm doing fine. I die inside anytime you mention pineapple on pizza because it just reminds me that there are crazy people
how delicious it is
that actually enjoy that heresy. But hey, I'm doing just fine. Talking to my lovely friends this weekend. It's always a good time. So glad to be here.
Yes, and we're going to be talking a lot today. But before we get to that, he's here. He's queer. He's our shield against all things intersectional. And he's back again. Brian from the podcast. How you doing, Brian?
Again. Hey, man. Good to see you guys. Good to be here. Favorite day of the week. Hanging out with my boys.
There we go. And speaking of hanging out, we got Scotty Dub and Made You Say Butts, who are still top of the leaderboards on our super chat scale. In addition, Mexican Iron Man, our most consistent donator, and Jillian H., Major Chai Chai, and Eric Winberg, who are the kings of the gifted subs. And in Jillian H.'s case, queen of the gifted subs. So appreciate you guys, and we'll pop you back up when Tom comes on because it doesn't look right. As a producer, it's my job to make everything look good on this show. Speaking of looking good, guys, we got to get 10 new memberships as dictated by Dutch Butters himself. He's like, guys, I'm not coming on the show again unless we get 10 new memberships. So we need to hit that goal, guys. Otherwise, Dutch will be.
I could be playing Battlefield.
Battlefield, yeah, exactly. And a little bit less important is our subscriber goal, which nobody seems to care about.
Nobody gives a
but
shit.
we're hoping to get to 25 by the end of the year, but yeah, probably not going to happen. But we keep hope alive. Rebellions are built on hope, guys. I don't know if you know.
What do we? I'll be happy with like 21,000.
Yeah,
and that's like 4 away from where we're at now, I think.
Well, you know, we have 21,000 people on our Discord, Matt. So why don't you tell people a little bit about what's going on in Salty Nord Discord?
I don't know. I have a good time. I have a good time talking to my like 8 friends on there in our 18 chat, but it's a secret chat that nobody else can see. So we got a lot of autistic freaks over there that like to talking about the minutia of video games, and yeah, it's good times. It's good times. And we got Anthony Mark, who drops in there once a week and drops off his critique of today's show. So I always look forward to that as well. So lots of stuff going on over there, guys.
Lots of stuff. We need to get more movie people on the Discord.
We do.
All right. Speaking of movie people, we want to give a big shout out to Mephisto's Movie Reviews. Does the Real McCoy podcast every Saturday straight from Israel. So appreciate him. But more than him, we appreciate Brian and Shane, who together they form the Brain Show. It's kind of like Captain Planet or Voltron. Yeah. Like they come together and their powers unite. And
with our powers combined.
Yes, that happens right after this show. Brian literally pees in a bottle during this show, that he can go right into the next show.
Yeah, I don't even throw it away. I use the same one every week. It's starting to smell.
So Brian, what are you covering on today's Brain Show?
Oh man, it's a good day. We're talking about the first gamer president, because President Trump passed that banking for everyone that's going to be more effective for video games than anything else.
Oh yeah,
super rad. Dutch knows what I'm talking about.
I really I am not caught up in the games or in the news, so I'm a little.
Tell you something. That's a big deal. No more banning games because you didn't like the content.
Oh, good.
South Park's latest episode with Christy Nome, where she walks into a pet store and just just starts shooting all the animals. Really,
the Charlie Kirk Award.
The Charlie Kirk Award, yeah.
Did you guys see that Christy Nome put her South Park character up with laser eyes as her Twitter avatar?
All of them have been embracing it. It's been fantastic.
That's good.
I think it's hilarious how everyone's so mad that they're not mad.
Yeah.
Like, what? Don't you understand? They're making fun of you. I mean, be made fun of by South Park is a badge of honor. So
yeah,
I get it.
Yeah, notice they never made fun of Biden. They never made fun of Biden.
True. Yeah, they never did. Even though it was like easy pickings. And we're talking about AI warnings by James Gunn. He literally said, "We are 5 minutes away from Terminator."
Now
we're cooked. We're cooked. Yeah.
Brian, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't Nicolas Maduro still like the president of Venezuela or something like that?
I mean, he thinks he is, but that's not what Venezuela thinks. So,
you know who's the dictator of Venezuela? Fucking Donald Trump. That's who the dictator of Venezuela.
Well, I mean, dude, they offered $50 million information on his whereabouts. That's wild,
dude. Like, when I first saw that, it was on Twitter, and I thought it was a AI made video,
dude,
of just them. I'm like, what is this nonsense?
Such an insane amount of money.
$50 million.
Yeah,
Jesus. Yeah.
Yep. But, and of course, we're talking about Gina Carano like we are today too. There's a lot going on, man. A lot of good stuff.
There's a lot going on, especially from Anthony Mark, who a member for 20 months, almost 2 years from Anthony. Thank you, Anthony. Congratulations, Gina Carano. And that, guys, brings us to our first story of the day, which is Gina Carano has settled her lawsuit with Disney. This is big news because this lawsuit's been going on for about, 5 years, something like that. Mm-hmm. Ever since she got kneecapped by Lucasfilm and fired from her role on The Mandalorian. But Gina Carano came out on X and announced that it has been settled finally. And this is funny because basically Disney did everything they could to get this lawsuit dismissed, and they lost at every step of the way. And it basically got to the point where, like, you know, if they actually went to trial and all the correspondence and stuff surrounding this case became public, Disney was going to get a huge black eye. So they decided to settle with Gina, and I believe the settlement was monetary. So like she got a lot of money, probably the amount of money that she would have earned working for Disney during those like 4 years, or like whatever, or something.
What about jobs she wasn't able to get because she was blackballed?
Exactly. And apparently she's going to be resuming her role as Cara Dune in the Star Wars universe, and she might appear in like future. I know that they were planning to do a series based around her character, Rangers of the New Republic or something like that. So that might be back on the table now. But the big thing is that basically Disney lost. They lost hard. And they're trying to play it off like, oh, like we're very happy that Gina Carano is now, back in the fold of the Disney family and stuff like that. They released like a very, very saccharine public statement about the settling of the lawsuit.
Like, we're thrilled she's back.
Yeah,
she's our best friend now. Yeah, that's bullshit.
Our actors, directors, and crew loved her.
Yeah,
we'll leave out executives and producers, but everyone else loved her.
Everyone else, and I know that a lot of people are kind of upset that she didn't take Disney.
I am
publicly humiliating them with like all the discovery and stuff like that. But who's really happy about this is probably Elon Musk, because he's just sitting there. Is like, I warned you, Iger. I told you to go fuck yourself, and now you're going to go fuck yourself. So I think everyone wins with this settlement, and Disney seems to be pivoting. So like they're like, okay, we know we went too far to the left, so now we're coming back towards the middle. And I think this is one of the first steps of them like actually doing that. And I think a lot of the people in the Star Wars community are actually very supportive of Gina Carano and want to see her come back in her character's role and stuff like that. But I want to get the panel's reaction. We will start with the curmudgeon Dutch himself. Dutch Butters, what do you think about the settlement?
I don't know where you're getting this information about Cara Dune coming back. Cara Dune is never fucking coming back. She's never going to play that character again. We'll be lucky if she's ever in a Disney-made production again, just because they give us lip service. But, we're very looking forward to finding things that maybe she can do with us sometime in the future, someday, maybe in another alternate dimension. Yeah, that's not going to happen. And I don't know why she would want to do it, and I don't know why they would want to ever even think about bringing her back. Pay her money, get her the fuck off the books, and then it's over with and done. And that's why I'm kind of upset that she settled, because I wanted them to take Disney to task. A settlement is it's a settlement. It's like, oh, Brian, I'm mad at you. I'm going to kick your ass. And like, oh, okay, well, let's go back behind closed doors and hash our beef out. And then I'm going to, you were wrong to do that to me. So you're going to give me a little bit of money to say I'm sorry, say you're sorry. And then we're going to sign papers that we're not going to talk about what really went on. It's bullshit. And I'm sorry, and I don't like it. I'm happy that Gina's settled and that she's happy with what went on. But I think us as fans and the people that have been through this all for the last 4 or 5 years, I think we're getting the short end of the stick here. I think I want to know what happened. I want to know the things that went on. People need to know how big as shitbags fucking Disney and Lucasfilm were. And it's not just to her, but everybody else in the industry that didn't think the way they thought. And I wanted them to expose these people. And they're not going to get exposed now, because it's all going to be behind locked non-disclosure agreements and bullshit. And I'm sorry, but I'm glad Gina got hers, and I'm glad we're all able to make a couple nickels off of making a bunch of videos and stuff on YouTube about it. But I think we got the short end of the stick. I really do. I'm not happy about it. So,
Brian, despite Dutch's consternations about this, I do think part of the settlement is that Disney can't discriminate against casting Gina in roles for the company. I think that also the reputation issue with this is that basically like her reputation was very much harmed by Disney basically blacklisting her. And now that that's going to be lifted, she's going to be able to get more gigs in like other Hollywood productions. So what's your take on this?
Well, I'm right there with Dutch. I'm glad that Gina, beat Disney. That's cool. But it would have been really nice to know exactly who else they screwed over. It's been a lot of people. A lot of people have been screwed over by Disney, and no one really talks about it. And the one person that did talk about it was Gina, and it got her fired. And then when she got fired, she sued. And so we all sort of expected to get more information out of it once she took on this Goliath. She took on Goliath, she beat Goliath, but she never showed us Goliath's head.
Yeah.
So you're also upset that she didn't go all the way with Disney?
Upset is a strong word. I'm unhappy. I would have rather have seen who else they screwed over and who else's rights they removed. You know, they decided we're not capable of speaking for themselves.
Well, Odin, do you think that this settlement would have happened if Trump wasn't in office?
Honestly, I don't think it necessarily would have, only because my dog River's upset at something.
Demon.
But well, it's kind of confusing because like she's been at the door, like someone's out there, and then my son keeps getting up to check the hallway, and I was like, oh, my wife must be downstairs. And then I texted her, and she was like, I've been on the couch this whole time. So I don't know what's going on out there. I'll have to check that after I finish.
Succubus in your room.
It's like it must be a haunting or something. But no, I'm basically of the mindset that I don't think necessarily that she would have settled. Because, well, the other thing, too, is if Trump had been elected, I don't know if necessarily all of the Elon stuff would be happening the way that it is. And so it's really hard to say that for sure. But I think that she would be less likely to, because she's probably looking at the culture war right now and thinking to herself, things are looking pretty good. Disney is not the same company that it once was. They're being forced to do a lot of things because of the culture being changed. And so she probably felt like there wasn't really a need to push forward anymore because enough information has already been out there. Enough information has already been leaked. And so she might think that that's kind of good enough. Going back to whether this is a win or not, to me, two things can be true at the same time. Okay. So on the one hand, this is a huge win for Gina Carano because she has been the one at the forefront. She's had to take all the licks. She's had to be the public face of all of this. So ultimately it is her call. And so if she felt like, okay, we've gone far enough, we've done everything that we need to do, they're trying to get delays every 5 seconds. And even though we have all the money in the world behind me with Elon Musk and these really great lawyers, and we probably could get to discovery, we probably could do these things, it probably wouldn't be another, probably take another like 5-10 years just to even get through all of that. Do I really want to go through that while I'm going through some of the best years of my life where I could be creating content, where I could be focused on my career? So I think that on the one hand, it's a huge win for her, and it's totally her right to call it. And I think that that's a good thing for her. So I'm very happy that she is obviously happy. On the other hand, it can also be true that we, the fans, got screwed. And I think that might be on us to a certain extent, because I think a lot of us kind of put all of our hopes and dreams on this case and thought, man, this is going to be the one, right? Because this is probably the closest, to our knowledge at least, that Disney has ever gotten to this kind of disclosure, like to this kind of reveal, like that Discovery would have revealed. And so I think a lot of us, like I know for myself, it's like, man, had they just held out a bit longer, right? If you have Elon Musk money behind you, you have all the money to get to that point. It's still going to take a while because Disney's also got a lot of money. They also want to keep these skeletons in the closet. But man, that would be totally worth it to see some of these people burn for the crazy nonsense that they did. But again, I think that there's this kind of dual, like, again, two things can be true at the same time, where it's great for her. She's obviously coming out of this a big winner, but I think we are honestly coming out of this as losers. And I think that, yes, you could argue, hey, but it's good for Gina, and so that's good for us who are fans of hers. Again, that part is absolutely true, right? Because we are happy for her. But we're also losing the big case that could have really dealt Disney a massive blow to the point and to the degree that they deserve. Like, obviously, all of this has been bad for them. The fact that they did have to come out and say something positive about her is already a huge, a huge thing for them to have to do. I don't think that they're going to cast her anymore, because they can say all the kind words they want about we look forward to future endeavors, but they could easily now just say, oh, well, we don't want to work with you because you're not the right fit. I mean, they could just be more careful with the language that they use.
I just don't see you in that role.
Yes.
That's not where we want to go.
Or, oh, well, our show's already moved on past this, and so therefore there's no need for this character anymore. All they have to do is just change the wording around. So it's also given Disney a free pass to keep doing what they're doing. They just now are obviously going to be a bit more careful with the things they say and with how they push things going forward. So again, to me, it's like that. it's two things. It's a win for her, and that's why I'm so happy for her, because honestly, she's going to take this money, and I think that what she'll be able to, we assume it's money, again, most likely is money, because again, we haven't gotten full information about what is in this deal. But hey, take the money, make your own production company, build. She wants to be creative. She says my heart is in this with the arts. I think that's what she's going to do, and I think that she's going to be happier for it, because now she can move on. Now the black mark next to her name has been, mostly lifted at this point, because obviously, I imagine there's still a lot of executives at Disney and their friends that are probably still not really happy with her, but she has the ability now to kind of build and grow, and I think that's a good thing.
I don't think anybody on this panel or in our chat or out there, I don't think any of us wanted to see a settlement. I think Gina, being who she was, and with Elon and his team behind her and that unlimited pool of money, there was really no reason for them to stop. The goal was to expose these bullshit SJW left-wing practices in Hollywood and to make it stop.
I disagree with you, Dutch.
Well,
the goal of this, the whole reason Elon supported her was because he wanted to send a message that if you fire someone because of what they post on his platform, you're a target.
Yeah, and settling is not the way to do it.
No. Like, he protected Gina Carano, who was a victim of this, and so that was the goal. So settlement or exposure, like, it doesn't matter. Like, he achieved the goal by helping this person who was unfairly treated because of what she posted on his platform.
Yeah, Elon achieved his goal for sure. I think our goal as the community viewing everything with no skin in the game was hoping that we would see Disney exposed.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I am very happy for Gina that she's happy with that she got what she wanted. But I just feel like we, as the fans and the consumers, I feel like we got the short end of the stick here, and I'm not super happy about it. So
both things can be true, man. Both things can still be true.
There are three things that I think are true about this. Okay. And I'm going to go on record so you can hold me to this in the next 2 years or so, right?
Okay.
So
be right back. I have to check on the ghost outside.
Okay. First of all, Gina Carano is going to reprise her character as Cara Dune in the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, because both Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau both really liked her, and they had planned to create an entire series around her. So I think they're going to reintroduce her character in that. Secondly, I believe that Disney probably, as part of the settlement, offered her a guaranteed picture deal, whatever that is. It could be a 3-picture deal or a 5-picture deal or whatever the case may be. But I believe that she's going to be showing up in, like X-Men movies, because she was in like Deadpool. I believe that she might get cast in like other Star Wars films. I think that basically, like, as part of the settlement, she made sure, or at least her representatives did, that she has a future at Disney, and that there's a way that they have to cast her and stuff that they can't get out of, essentially.
Well, I hope that's true. I do.
The third thing is that I believe this is further proof that Kathleen Kennedy is not long for continuing to be CEO of Lucasfilm. I think that this signals that she's on her way out, and that hopefully within the next year or two, she has stepped down as the head of Lucasfilm. So I'm seeing this as like a very positive sign in terms of like the fan base, even though we didn't get, to give Disney the black eye that we wanted. I do think that overall this signals a lot of good things for the fandom, especially when it comes to Star Wars. Does anyone disagree with me?
No.
I mean, it makes sense. I'll be shocked if any of that happens, though. That's all I'm saying.
I'm going on record right now as I am predicting this. So Nostradamus.
Yes. Nostradamus. All right.
Nostradamus. Yes. Or yeah.
I just really wanted to see Kathleen Kennedy and Pedro Pascal in that courtroom. A little sweat beating up on the brow.
I was hoping she would win, and everything that Pedro was going to be in would now be Gina Carano.
Yeah. Gina Carano is Mr. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Did you guys see
kissing Invisible Woman? Yeah.
Did you guys see that video of Liam Neeson showing up to the premiere of Naked Gun in L.A. and said, I'm here to tell you all that Pedro Pascal is not in this movie?
Yeah, that was awesome.
That's funny.
Yeah,
that was awesome. Pretty funny. You know what isn't funny though, guys? Our members chat. So we got Eric Winberg, who gifted 1 Salty Nerd podcast membership,
All right.
as he does every single show. Thank you so much, Eric. And we got Hitcher42, a member for 7 months. Disney destroyed her career, got her agent to fire her, and I think the damage is way in excess of the agreement, but it's been going on for years. And this is true. But I think in order for Gina to have accepted the settlement, it had to have been something that was highly in her favor. So,
well, sure.
Hopefully we can start the healing process now. And Jeremiah Hembry has become a new member of the Salty Nerd podcast. Nice. So, guys, we now have 2 memberships. We just got 8 more to go. Otherwise, Dutch is going to walk off the set. He's going to be very upset with us if we don't.
Well, hey, we don't have to be here. Odin and Brian are very capable of handling the show by themselves. I could probably
proven
show up.
Yeah.
I could do it like once a month. I could just come in once a month.
Not true.
So yeah.
I don't know about that. I'm not going to commit.
You just get Scott Adams to show up every once in a while. It's fine. It's fine. Okay, guys. So let's talk a little bit about the Disney Plus curse, since we're already on the topic here.
Who dis?
And who dis? New phone. So the Wrap has this really interesting expose about how the Disney Plus streaming channel, which it's important to note that Dutch Butters himself is unplussed. He has unplussed himself in the Disney Plus universe.
He has no plus.
He has no plus. So basically, there's this big article by Drew Taylor, which is it's a very stupid article considering how long it is.
Is this the one behind the paywall?
Yeah.
I didn't read it.
Well, I was able to read the whole thing.
Oh God!
And basically, the premise here is that with the Disney Plus streaming service, it has consistently damaged the brands that Disney owns, the IP brands. So basically, it says that Marvel, Lucasfilm, and Pixar have all been irreparably damaged by Disney Plus because Disney Plus not only brought down the value by bringing these like traditionally movie centered IPs to the small screen TV, but also forcing them to pump out so much content that people couldn't keep up with it, and therefore it just devalued the brand. And what I found interesting about this is that at no point in this article did they mention the quality of the movies or the TV shows that these were producing. But what was really interesting to me, and I know Brian's on top of this because he reads my feed, but Bo DeMeo, who was the showrunner for the X-Men 97 animated thing that Marvel did, he came out and he basically he spilled some major tea on this post of his this morning. Like, he basically broke down Marvel's pitching process and how everyone's so on top of Kevin Feige's dick that it was a miracle that he was able to get X-Men 97 actually made, because everyone just kind of wrote it off as like a stupid animated thing. But if you actually read this post of his where he basically goes through the entire process of what it's like to pitch a Marvel show or Marvel movie to Kevin Feige, and the ego that this guy has in regard, not Kevin or Bo DeMeo, but Kevin Feige, it's very eye-opening. And if you read past the actual post and look at some of his responses to people who are asking questions, it goes even more in depth.
That's a lot of words.
That is a lot of words.
It's a lot of words.
Which
Grok,
is why,
could you summarize that for me, please? In two sentences.
but this kind of dovetails into this article from the Wrap, because basically the problem with Disney's brands, be it Marvel, Lucasfilm, or Pixar, is that the thing that hurt them wasn't the fact that they were pumping out lots of content. The thing that hurt them was that they were pumping out crappy content that the audience didn't want, and in some cases were actually attacked for not liking. And so I completely reject this whole premise of the Disney Plus curse. I think it was just the fact that it was Disney making this shit in an era where they basically pivoted away from the core audiences that built these franchises to begin with. So, Odin, let's start with you. What do you think about this concept of the Disney Plus curse and Bo DeMayo's basically career-ending tweet storm this morning?
I mean, one could argue that there is a curse, but it's totally in the hands of Disney executives. They're the ones who are cursing this brand by the green lighting of these things, and so it's almost guaranteed to have that, right? Disney used to have that brand identity where people could trust it, where people could know that they were getting either quality content or family friendly content. They don't have that same trust anymore. They lost that quite a bit. I remember when I was covering box office for when Lightyear came out. And I remember when all the stuff started coming out about how they were trying to add in LGBTQ stuff into their films and into their content. And then that movie specifically had that in the movie. And guess what? Nobody showed up for it. The parents said, heck no. Right. There was obviously a lot of other things too going on, but a lot of it was related to Disney. That was also the year that Disney had, I think, just gotten involved in Florida's politics with the whole, quote, "Don't Say Gay" bill, which was a complete and utter farce. So that, turned off a lot of these parents. And so, yeah, it is cursed, but it's just the Disney executives that are the curse on the brand and on the Disney Plus content. And if you want even further proof of this, anyone who's going to try to argue against this, you only need to bring up one series. It's called Willow. Remember when they made Willow and no one liked it and it got rejected? They've wiped that from existence.
I love that. I love that show.
Now, luckily, the internet is forever. And so, hey, I have Willow, the entire series. Not that I ever plan on watching it. That was purely out of hey, I like to preserve things, even if
can I have a copy of that?
Like
I haven't been able to find
absolutely,
it.
Absolutely.
Thanks,
I'll send you the link in a second. I got a Proton Drive link for that.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, man, like that is the stuff where it's like you can find all the stuff that's available. But Willow's a great example because they spent a lot of this money to try to recreate this series. They didn't respect the fan base. The fans rejected it. And then it did so bad that they were like, it is better for us to wipe this thing from our servers and to just ignore its existence than to just keep it on there. I mean, like how bad does it have to get when you're doing so? Even Netflix, right? Even they have tons and tons and tons of shows and movies that most people probably never watch, and yet they still keep them on there because there's still enough people showing interest. If anything, this is Disney showing their hand that no one's watching their content. And the fact that they're now going to drop the Hulu name, and I think, again, Valiant Renegade has the best name given to this of Who Dis. But the fact that they're going to drop Hulu and just keep Disney Plus, I mean, things are about to get even worse for them going forward.
Well, they're incorporating
that's almost as bad as the HBO Max thing, in my opinion.
They're incorporating Hulu into Disney Plus, so it's basically going to be a channel on there. But it's overseas. They're replacing Star with Hulu, so everyone's going to be getting it.
I use Disney Plus.
And I'll get to you in a second, Brian.
Yeah.
But I wanted to ask.
Shut your mouth. You wait for your turn.
Shut your whore mouth, Brian.
Shut up.
But Odin, did you hear about Bob Iger and the head of Disney Streaming coming out and basically announcing that they're no longer going to be making public the subscriber numbers?
Yeah, we talked about it on FNT last night, and it's like it's funny to me because the argument is, well, Netflix has already said that that's what they're going to do. And it's so funny that Disney executives are going to try to put themselves on the same level as Netflix because, for one, Netflix said that, but then also said because all we need to do is share what our revenue share is, what our actual net gain and profits are, what our profit margins are. And Disney can't do that because Disney Plus has never really been profitable. And so it's just funny. They're like, oh, yeah, we could do that, too. And it's like you don't have the subscriber base or the success that Netflix has because it was the first one in Best Dressed and has continued to provide enough good content on there for keep. And again, even in the midst of all the controversy, because I know a lot of people hate Netflix, I know a lot of people have issues with it. Hey, I respect anyone who's canceled it because after that Cuties nonsense, I respect anybody who canceled it. But the fact still remains,
it's $25 a month. Jeez.
Most people still have it to some degree. It's still the biggest platform out there. They have that kind of, F around money. Disney does not have that.
So, Brian, want to throw this to you because in Bo DeMayo's post, he outlined that the creative meetings at Marvel Studios are thus. He says, you basically sit in a room with Kevin Feige and Lou D'Esposito and try to pitch your movie while also realizing that Kevin just wants you to dictate his rushed thoughts. And then he says a producer used to be in these with Kevin and Lou, but so mistreated her that in one of his Blade meetings, she just showed up with sugar cookies she'd baked to help improve morale. And it became very obvious in this post that basically everything that Marvel has produced since Endgame has been solely Kevin Feige's brainchild. And that, you know, like the Echo series, the Agatha series, the Secret War, like all this stuff was Kevin Feige and this Lou Desposito guy. I'm not familiar with who he is. But these two basically are the ones who have been shepherding everything post Endgame, and they've been doing a really shitty job. But the minute they get a hit like X-Men or Deadpool versus Wolverine, that Kevin Feige had nothing to do with, he comes out and he's like, "Oh yeah, that was my idea. Like, you know, I'm responsible for this. You know, like, so he takes the wins, but then he says, oh, Disney Plus is a curse, and we were putting out too much content, and that's the reason why all this other stuff failed." So what's your take on this, Brian?
Well, first off, that post is brilliant. I really enjoyed seeing, you know, the behind the scenes. We've always suspected that perhaps that was the way it was over there, how the creatives weren't really able to do a lot of what they wanted to do. Let's be real, though. Not all creatives are good creatives, and there needs to be some kind of guardrails in place. The best movies, TV shows, media is made not with someone's, you know, full and uncensored thoughts being pushed into a screenplay, but with some kind of pushback. You know, Star Wars wouldn't be Star Wars without George Lucas's wife. There is people, a panel, a creative's vision that is moderated by some type of guardrails usually is what's most successful and most generally loved by the general people. That said, though, it sounds like reading this, it sounds like Kevin Feige really wants to just smell his own farts, and he wants to be the hero. He wants to be the star. There was a moment in that post, a section that I thought was really interesting. It said, we don't want the creatives. We want the creatives to be seen but not heard because the celebrity here is Feige, not them, which is insane. That's just an insane statement. Also, no wonder why they're having a hard time. They lost James Gunn. Kevin Feige no longer has James Gunn to give some pushback, someone he trusts. He obviously doesn't trust this. What's his name? Bo DeMaio.
Bo DeMaio.
You know, Bo DeMaio doesn't have the clout to be able to push back against Feige that probably some of these other people had, like, God forbid, Joss Whedon or James Gunn. So they can't just say whatever they want. Like, they're at the whim. I think that the problem with Marvel has nothing to do with Disney Plus and everything to do with the quality of the content. In fact, I would say that one of the problems with Disney Plus is the quality of the content. So you can blame Disney Plus's failures for how crappy Marvel's doing. Because imagine if Marvel was doing as well as they were doing the first couple phases. People would be subbed to Disney Plus nonstop just to get the next little bit of trickle of information.
Marvel has the same you got to do your homework bullshit that Star Wars has on the Disney Plus channel. It's no different. It's the same exact thing. You gotta go watch a Deaf Hawkeye Girl crap show, and you gotta go. You know, no.
But listen. But if it was doing good, if Marvel was doing as well as they were doing during the Infinity Saga, then everyone would be enjoying that homework.
Yeah.
And Disney Plus would be doing better financially. But that's not the case. So I would argue it's not Disney Plus's fault for the lack of quality on Marvel. I mean, for the failure of Marvel recently. It's Marvel's fault for lack of quality. And it is. Like nothing that's come out of Marvel since Endgame has really been great. There's been a couple good things, but for the most part, a lot of it is just sort of boring slop, you know, or even worse, message-ridden, garbage, gay malware that we just don't want to watch anymore. So it's either actively bad or just okay. Or you take Deadpool and Wolverine, it's basically a criticism of the entire MCU, and that's what people like. People liked seeing MCU criticized. They liked the member berries. It wasn't Marvel we were watching. We were watching a referendum on Marvel. That's what made that movie great.
The last remnants of Fox.
Last remnants of Fox, indeed.
I wish I could find this thread on X that you were talking about with Bo. I can't find it, but It's okay.
I'll put it in the private chat for
Yeah,
you.
because the other thing too with the whole there has been, first off, I'd push back. There has not been a really good big MCU film since Infinity War, because I would still argue that Endgame was not that great. That was the start of the downfall, even though it was a huge success and a lot of people still like
their
it.
time travel logic was really bad.
And my favorite part though was the writers and directors did not agree in interviews on how it worked. And the fact that fact shows very much in the movie, because there's very different ideas pushing itself throughout the entirety of it. But also too, right? Think about like what the biggest and best things that have come out of this universe or have been connected to this universe since that time. They have been a Sony-verse, obviously a crossover, but Sony-verse Spider-Man film, Spider-Man No Way Home, and then Deadpool Wolverine, which was the last remnants of Fox. And I love that comment you made about Kevin Feige taking ownership of things, because guess what? He also did that for Deadpool Wolverine, only his ownership was oh yeah, I greenlit that, or oh yeah, I allowed that. So it's like this idea of, because I'm allowing this to happen, it's now my idea. That's amazing. And the hubris of Kevin Feige is...
Bo DeMaio said the same thing about when X-Men 97 blew up, where basically he had allowed it to happen, but he wasn't paying attention to it.
I greenlit it, so
he's like, oh, that was my idea. But I want to throw this back to Brian real quick before we go to Dutch, because Brian, Kevin Feige kind of rose to prominence by saying I'm the comic book guy. I want to stay true to these characters. And he famously went behind the back of Ike Perlmutter, who was the head of all of Marvel early on, to Bob Iger, and basically said hey, hand me the reins, because Ike Perlmutter is holding me back and we could really blow this up. And so he basically did a Game of Thrones type coup and got rid of Ike. And now in this article, or I should say in this tweet, Bo DeMaio basically says that if you try to pitch any ideas from the comics, they're going to turn you down, because Lou Desposito is not a comic book guy, and those things turn him off. So basically people are pitching fun ideas with a mask of whatever the comic book is that they're doing, whether it be She-Hulk or Echo or whatever. It's we're gonna take this facade and just pitch them a fun idea that has nothing to do with any of the comic books ever, because this guy doesn't like comic books. So why in the world? And we're going to talk about this a little bit later in the show as well, because James Gunn's approach to this is hey, we're going to hire creative, good people that we trust. Right. And let them run with the characters, as opposed to this, where it's we're going to hire people that we can control and let them run with our ideas about what these characters are. So what's your take on that?
I think it's insane that someone who isn't a comic book guy is running a comic book studio. I don't... Look, you can be someone who didn't read the comics, but maybe later in life you found interest in the storylines, because... The hero's journey transcends comics and TV and movies. The hero's journey is always going to be a good story, no matter what the medium is being told on. Whether it's a movie, a TV, or a comic, or a book, or an audio drama, or whatever, the hero's journey is always, if it's told right, going to be appealing. So maybe you find those stories later on in life. That doesn't mean you abandon what made them popular, the storylines and characters that fans want to see. I've never understood why Marvel doesn't just go, hey, all those numbers that we definitely have access to on how many books we sold for this particular series of comics or this character? Can we go to those numbers and find the most popular characters? And then also go to those same numbers and decide what not to do based on how poorly those characters did, or those runs, or those stories. They have this information. They know how many Miss Marvel books they sold since 2013. It's not a lot. They know how popular Captain Marvel versus, Bucky Captain America was. They had this information. They know what fans liked for 60 years of comics. They have the stats. I don't know why they wouldn't just go to those that well and decide what to make and what storylines, to pursue, and what characters to greenlight, and what characters, quote unquote, not to greenlight. It's based on how poor they've done. So it's not about being a comic book guy. I think it's absurd that someone who's running a comic book studio isn't a comic book guy. But why wouldn't you be when to be successful, the formula is right there. You can be successful just by looking at the numbers that you have. I don't understand it. So
I want to appoint somebody to run Star Wars Studios who was a glorified secretary, who doesn't have the love, passion, and understanding of the source material and the characters and the universe to make all the executive and important decisions for this franchise going forward. And that's exactly what's going on here with Marvel as well. You read through this post. The bow. I'm only halfway through it, and I'm getting pissed off. Why are these people in charge of these things that don't have any understanding or passion for the source material? It's wild. It is absolutely wild to me.
I don't know how they get the job.
How do you get the job? Exactly. Yeah. It's insane. It's no wonder that all of our franchises have gone straight to shit, because the people that were put in charge of all of them don't give a shit about any of them.
Yeah, they don't care about the franchise.
It's wild. It is absolutely
like they're not passionate about the stuff that they're supposed to be making movies about.
And
imagine asking a writer who doesn't care about, let's say, we're going to have you write a prequel about Harry Potter.
Brian,
Harry Potter.
Blade is a perfect example of this, right? Where Kevin Feige's like, we don't want a character that just runs around at night with a sword in leather killing vampires.
That's all we want. That's all we fucking want, man.
That's all we want. That's the definition of Blade.
Put some fucking trance music to it. Put him in an underground club and let him go. Dude, that's all I want to see.
Bro, that statement, that quote that you just read, I thought that someone made that. It was so absurd, insane to me that I thought, no way he said that.
Look, I haven't seen the movie in 5 years. I've got the bloodbath music going through my head right now.
Yeah.
That's all I want. That's all I want. I want 90 fucking minutes of that.
Yeah, literally with a little bit of story is all we care about Blade.
That quote is that. That quote is up there with Kathleen Kennedy saying Star Wars had no source material to pull from.
Yes, it is. And it's also has the same value of showing that, just as it showed Kathleen Kennedy is the worst person to be running Lucasfilm, and also should be fired immediately. This is also the quote that shows that Kevin Feige knows nothing about his industry at this point and needs to be fired as well.
Dutch.
I'm sorry, but it's like I want hot people in leather and vampires and music and blood. I don't want to see me in the outfit. I don't want no fat, ugly bastards. I don't want no fucking Lizzo bitches out there. I want hot
What if
people.
they're the vampires being killed? Would you like it then? Maybe.
No.
I would like that. I would like that a lot. I would love to see Dutch being destroyed by a vampire. That'd be cool.
You don't want to see that. I don't need to see me represented in my entertainment. Okay, I do not want that.
For cannon fodder, I'm fine with that, actually.
But I know. It just.
Well, you do kind of look like Donald Lowe a little bit, Dutch. So.
Okay.
But I wanted to ask you. So, based off of Bo DeMaio's tweet here, I think it's very obvious that Kevin Feige is behind the MCU. Like ever since ever since Endgame. Like they've been putting like female focused characters out there. They've been like trying really hard to push female superheroes as part of like a feminist message. But what's interesting, and I forget like what I was watching when they made this point, but some podcast somewhere was talking about how women showed up more for Marvel movies when they had hot dudes with like big muscles and stuff like that, than when women are in charge of the movie, like a Captain Marvel or like whatever, and men tend to show up more for the male-led superhero movies because it's that escapist fantasy thing where like they want to aspire to be like that.
Exactly.
And they don't care about female-led superhero movies because they're like, if I don't want to fuck them, like I don't want to watch a movie about them, right?
I went and watched that the Black Widow movie because I like to see hot chicks in tight leather outfits. And I'm not lying. Scarlett Johansson looks good as fucking Black Widow. I'm sorry, and that's why I went and saw that movie. The movie might have been a big piece of crap, but I enjoyed quite a lot of that movie. So I don't know, man. I just don't get why it's so hard for these Hollywood and Disney executives to understand what fans want. I don't understand it at all. So the formula is not complicated. It really isn't. Four of us could probably get together and crank out 20 years worth of concepts and an outline in 2 hours.
Yeah.
You know, it's incredible to me.
It's crazy. Like we can do it in an afternoon. We can get a whole like series, trilogy ready to go.
And even if we had some bullshit starting point like Swamp Thing or something, we could probably still make it happen. And
we can bring Swamp Thing all the way to Brainiac versus the Justice League
exactly.
Easily. It wouldn't be very hard.
Well, I know that probably outside of Brian, you guys haven't experienced like actually living in Hollywood, right?
Well,
when you live in Hollywood, there's this bubble mentality where basically everything outside the bubble doesn't exist. Everything inside the bubble.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like I'm just telling you like how it is there. So like
You're not wrong.
everyone who works in the industry, you don't get exposed to thoughts and opinions outside of the people who are in that bubble, right?
Well, you get exposed to them occasionally, but you shun them like they're the plague.
Well, what I'm saying is that bubble influences these people's decisions, whereas everything outside the bubble, it's basically like, oh, the audience is just toxic, right? Like so therefore we don't pay attention to them.
It's our fault.
In fact, when I worked at Paramount, you know, like it was around the time Enterprise was being made, and like I was a big Star Trek fan, and I really wanted to see if I could leverage my position at Paramount to try to, you know, work at Star Trek. And a good friend of mine who he had worked on Voyager, and he was working on the lot at the time. He was like, whatever you do, don't tell them that you're a fan of Star Trek, because then they are guaranteed not to hire you. And the reason for that is because once a franchise gets like super successful or whatever, and there's so many fans of it, the fans basically want to stay true to the show, which can create conflict amongst the people running the show who want their own ideas to be in there. And so like I'm not surprised that it happened with Star Wars and Pixar and Marvel, because at a certain point the people in charge are like, we don't want fans on our team because they're crazy and they're going to keep, you know, shooting down our ideas that we want to do. And I think that's been a systemic problem in Hollywood for decades, right? But I think it's more focused on Disney because they have all these like huge IPs, and so like they're just like we've heard stories from our inside sources about how Kathleen Kennedy and like her cadre over at Lucasfilm, like they shoot down anything from people who are actually fans of Star Wars because like they don't like the idea that like these people would come in and like, you know, make something like, you know, original to or faithful to the IP, and they would much rather have their ideas imposed in there, and therefore you get something like The Acolyte, right? Which I think is 100% Kathleen Kennedy's wet dream of what she wants Star Wars to be.
Oh yeah, the gayest Star Wars ever.
Yep.
Every time I have to.
Guys, I have
Audible.
an idea. I'm going to pitch a new Indiana Jones movie. All right. So you see, I'm going to make him a time traveler, and we're going to send him back to ancient Greece through some weird Nazi bullshit contraption. Okay. And then he's going to change the future, and we're going to start over with new Indiana Jones movies. Except we're going to cast Chris Pratt as Indiana Jones. So you know, this the stupid
ideas.
The stupid shit.
Funny?
No, I'm not.
Disney,
that's just fucking last movie.
Disney
dude.
owns everything. So actually, the best way to do it, at least from Disney's perspective, is just make another Deadpool movie and have it be Deadpool saves every franchise. And if you make Deadpool now like canon in Indiana Jones lore and in every IP that they own, they could just use that as the jumping off point. And I'd be like, that's the crossover I want.
Comics.
That's the crossover I need. It's just Deadpool saving everything.
Deadpool did that already in the comics.
But like for real this time.
Yeah. You know what's crazy is when Indiana Jones 5 whatever, the trailer came out, we were watching it, and my brother and I theorized that, oh my God, they're going to do time travel. Like Indiana Jones is going to time travel. I remember the comments telling us that we were insane.
Yeah.
They wouldn't do that. That is so out of scope for Indiana Jones. Unsubscribed. You're ridiculous. And then it happened. So
Well,
I went to a meeting once in Hollywood with I'm not going to say the guy's name because he's still a friend of mine, but a celebrity and his writer producer, and they worked for a company called Legion of Creatives. I will never forget this. Me and my brother sat down to talk about this project, and this celebrity friend of mine, his producer, speaks up immediately and goes, First off, I want you to know that we are all about the creative." And he hasn't even introduced himself yet.
So I'm picturing purple and pink hair with ear gauges and an nose ring.
No, what's crazy is he was
Right?
actually a really tall, handsome looking dude, but he spoke like a woman.
Okay.
He goes, "We are all about the creative."
Did he have a
Secondly, we're about changing the industry, because they all act this way. They all act like they're going to change the industry and that there's some special creative. And then he goes, "But the most important thing here is that we do us." And my brother gave me this side eye where he's like, "Why the fuck are we here?"
I would have been like,
And it
why
was-
does he want us to F ourselves?
And it was so interesting because that entire meeting, this guy that set it up so that this person would be in contact with us so we can work with them. We didn't want to work with them, and they, him, it, he, she, I don't know, clearly didn't want to work with us. But we sat there for an hour while that person droned on about changing the industry. And this was not the first meeting I had gone to where they had the same exact opinion and personality that Kadish was talking about, where they are just so narcissistic. They don't trust or believe anything fans say. Nothing is ever their fault. They all want to change the industry, and they all want to, excel in some way. And it's all this like nepotism and narcissistic behavior that Hollywood is just plagued with right now.
Oh,
I don't think it's salvageable except for the few creatives that actually know what the hell they're doing.
I got an idea, Brian. We're gonna save the MCU with one word: twerking. We're gonna twerk. We're gonna have She-Hulk twerk.
Megan
This is-
Thee Stallion.
Make
Megan Thee
everybody,
Stallion on the phone.
make everybody
Yeah.
twerk. It's like,
It worked so well for
was it?
what is
Paula.
wrong with
Yeah, it
these
did,
people?
right?
I think it wasn't put Megan Thee Stallion in anything. She's not even good in her own music. Why would she be in the MCU? It's so weird.
Because
know
she
what?
shakes it, Brian. She shakes
You know what?
it.
You know what
She's
makes
not
everybody
even
really happy?
attractive.
You know what's make
That's
comic books
racist.
really happy? Let's have
She's
Daredevil
actively
do
ugly.
a walk. Let's have Daredevil
Yeah.
do a walk of shame
In his
after
mustard
Yes.
outfit.
She-Hulk.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ugh.
That's what everyone wanted to see, right? Everyone
Yeah,
wanted to see
it's just-
Daredevil.
We need to move on. This
Yes,
topic is pissing me off.
But Dutch, I remember when I said Harrison Ford was too old to be playing Indiana
Yes,
Jones,
you-
and my best
you
friend James Mangold
yeah,
slapped me around publicly. So
yes, that was pretty funny.
and Chris Pratt would not be cast as Indy; it would be Pedro Pascal. We all know
Pedro
this.
Pascal for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. You know who isn't Pedro Pascal is John Yulden, Brian's boyfriend, for £4.99.
Johnny.
Not just movie deals. I wouldn't be surprised if Gina is included in future gaming media. Yes, indeed. So, guys, I don't know if you know this or not, but John and Brian do a Stargate watch-along show. What episode are you on by now, Brian?
Oh my God. Season 2 episode, I want to say 13. I think it's 13. So the problem is like some weeks we're not very tired and we watch like 3 episodes because we haven't gotten our Stargate fix. Other weeks it's 2 episodes. I think it's episode 13. So that means tomorrow we're doing 13, 14, or it could be 14, 15. Either way, it's a good time. We watch Stargate, we eat snacks, and we talk shit. It's great.
Have you got to the episode where they find Quark from DS9 as a weird forest creature?
No.
On another planet?
That's a long.
Is it?
Wow.
Okay, I don't know how far.
No. You're talking about the Nox. No. Yeah, we got past that.
Okay.
No, that was season 1. Yeah,
Okay.
that's one of my favorite episodes.
I don't remember what episode it was. It just
I think it's like
stuck in my
episode
head.
like 7 or something. Yeah, but we
All
did.
right.
That was Rich.
All right. Well, we got the Joker's voice member for 29 months.
Joker.
Disney now owns live sports, ESPN, with NFL and WWE. I thought WWE had a contract with Netflix, not ESPN.
Well, Raw's on Netflix.
Yeah.
And
then the rest is on Peacock, but I think in 2026 is
look,
when.
man, the WWE changes networks every 2 years, it seems like. So, yeah. Well, who knows? And as far as the NFL and ESPN goes, I don't know a whole lot about that, but the NFL has been going down a weird road for the last few years anyway. It does not shock me that they're getting to bed with ESPN. The game kind of sucks now anyway. It's for pussies. Pussy football.
People just need to throw dildos on the field to liven it up a little bit.
That
Hey,
is
it brings more attention to
epic.
it.
That is so epic. The throwing the dildos on the women's basketball courts. I don't even know what to say about it. I mean,
Who would have thought the ratings, domination in WNBA, maybe in the number one spot is Caitlin Clark, and then when she's injured, what's number two?
dildos.
Yes.
That's so funny.
Says a lot about the WNBA.
Yeah, it really does.
Well, you know what says a lot about this show is Kalikioki for $2. If it's owned by Disney, it's dead or will be dead.
Uh-huh.
All right. And guys, he's back again. Danny the Dork Knight just signed up
Friend.
Good
to
Lord.
become a YouTube member. We love
Listen,
Danny the
Danny.
Dork
We need-
Knight.
we need-
in fact, for Dutch Butter's amusement here, we acknowledge
No.
Danny the Dork Knight.
Listen, we need a special Dork Knight tier that's a minimum of $150 to be acknowledged.
Acknowledgement.
To be acknowledged.
So,
Acknowledge me.
Acknowledge me.
Acknowledge
and I
me.
can't say too much mean stuff about him because his mom's in the chat and she'll probably get mad.
And we love
You
Danny's
know.
mom.
Yeah, we love Danny's mom.
And we also love Danny. So we acknowledge you, Danny the Dork Knight. Thank you for signing up for our membership.
Nice to hear.
Hey,
It's nice to hear from him. Actually,
we now got 3 signups so
Oh, wow.
far. So we got 7 more to go, or else Dutch is quitting the show.
Wow.
All right.
wow, he's giving me an out, guys.
Don't
Damn.
worry.
Gu-
He says that every week.
Guys, speaking of quitting, we got Howard Stern just got canceled off of
About
Sirius
time.
XM. So Howard has been on Sirius XM for going on 20 years now, and in fact, the headline of this was "Bye Bye Bowie," which I thought was kind of funny. But yeah, so like basically he came on Sirius off of terrestrial radio. I think it was 2006 or 2005, something like that. And he basically, like, I remember when I lived in Los Angeles, and my commute to work from where I lived was an hour and a half in LA traffic. And it was miserable until I got to listen to Howard. So like when I was going to work in the morning, Howard would
Were you on
be
the 405?
Yes, I was. So I'd listen to Howard in the morning, and basically like his show was like 3 hours long. So like it kept me engaged that entire horrible drive every morning. And then when he went to Sirius, he had his own channel, and so they would replay the show in the afternoon drive time around 3, right? And so like I'd get to listen to it again and hear the parts I missed on the way home. So I was a big Howard Stern fan. He was very funny. I liked Private Parts, the movie and the book. Book was really good. And Howard also was a really good interviewer. Like he was a guy who basically, whenever somebody came on his show, he'd get them to reveal shit that no one else ever would be able to do. And for a long time, and you know, he was a New York liberal Jewish guy, grew up there. So like, you know, like his politics, it's like whatever, you know. But after he got on Sirius XM and he was no longer hampered by, you know, like rules or regulations or whatever, he started going really, really off the rails. And I think COVID broke him. So like he set things up so that like basically he'd broadcast from his house in the Hamptons with people at the Sirius XM offices. So like he wasn't even there. He was just kind of like he was doing what we're doing. He was just kind of like piping into, you know, like the feed. And it was simply because he's a germaphobe, right? Like he's just like super conscious about possibly getting sick or like whatever. So COVID, I think, really broke him. And also like he had a huge case of TDS, Trump derangement syndrome.
Yeah, big time.
Big time. And this was a guy who was actually kind of friendly with Donald Trump before he got into politics, right? And who can forget like Howard Stern famously like did a couple publicity stunts where he was going to run for mayor of New York and like all this other shit. But overall, like he was like really entertaining. He was a really interesting guy. But now he's kind of gotten into the Stephen Colbert camp where like he's, you know, Sirius didn't want to renew his $100 million per year contract. He was getting paid $100 million a year off of Sirius satellite radio.
Bro, that's insane. I don't even know people that use Sirius.
Yeah, and wasn't it as recent as 5 years ago? Because wasn't it like a 5-year contract?
Something like that. But
I got Sirius for free when I bought my Jeep. They ran out, and I said, I'm not coming back. I don't want to pay for it. And they go, well, you can have it for $1 a month. So my wife kept it going for a little while.
But Howard had 2 channels on Sirius. So he had one channel where it was just his show. And then he had a second channel where he programmed the show. And that had like Bubba the Love Sponge and a bunch of other people on it. And he kind of like, ever since he left terrestrial radio back in like, I think 2005, 2006, his home had been on SiriusXM. And, you know, I don't know if you guys ever watched, like, he was like one of the, even before Joe Rogan, like he was doing like a video version of his radio show, and it aired on E Entertainment Network and stuff like that. And so like, it was the first time that you could actually like watch a radio show, like, you know, do their thing and stuff like that. It was a big deal.
Now it's going to be a YouTube show.
Well, now, so like basically Howard refused to take any less money, and what we're seeing with a lot of these big corporations like SiriusXM, CBS, like all this stuff, is that they're now starting to pay attention to their bottom line, and they're saying like, well, what are we really getting off of Howard? Like, you know, he interviewed Kamala and Biden, and that was like the only time he's been in the news for like, you know, since he was a judge on America's Got Talent or something like that. So like nobody was really tuning in for him. I don't even think I kind of stopped listening after Artie left, because Artie Lang was really like the one who like pushed the jokes on that show. But that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
But a lot of people are pointing to this as like more censorship from the Trump administration, where they're basically, he's like, they're getting rid of everyone who criticizes him. So I want to get the panel's take on this. Dutch, what do you think about Howard Stern, basically his show getting canceled off of SiriusXM?
So I just got to be right up front with you guys. I've never been a Howard Stern fan, and I never really listened to him. I don't have Sirius FM. I didn't listen to it when I had it. And I didn't listen to him when he was in New York. My first real exposure to the dude was basically when his movie came out, and I thought that was funny. And of course, I knew who he was and everything, but I just never listened to him. I just at this point, to me, he's just probably an overcooked, overdone shock jock who got a really good deal on Sirius, and now he's 70 years old, and it's probably time for him to go by the wayside and retire and go start a YouTube channel and do his thing there if he wants to do it. It would be super successful by YouTube standards, I'm sure. Or, you know, I mean, people don't need these giant $100 million deals from SiriusXM anymore, because there's other outlets for these guys to go do. You think Stephen Colbert is going to go disappear? He's going to go start his own thing. It's what all these guys do. They get fired and they go start their own shit. And they're semi-successful, and they make money. So you know, the Howard Stern thing is just, it's personally to me, I understand that it's a big deal culturally and out there with everything. And it's part of the narrative that they're trying to push about how everything's getting canceled, which is, it's not getting canceled. It's just not relevant anymore. And they haven't been relevant for a long time. Nobody watches Colbert. Nobody listens to fucking Stern. You know, The View's getting canceled probably because those cackling hens, nobody gives a shit about them except for the 50 people that voted for Kamala Harris. You know, that's why these people are going away. It's because they're not making any money for the people who pay them money. You know, so it's just, it's not a big deal to me. And it's time for him to go anyway. Yeah, his relevancy
Brian,
is long past overdone.
Brian, I want to ask you about the relevancy aspect of this, because basically Howard Stern, you know, a guy who is known for like doing like really hard interviews with people and getting them to like reveal shit. When Kamala Harris chose to go on his show as opposed to Joe Rogan's show, she came on and he asked her the most softball questions I think I've ever heard a politician be asked.
Yeah, he's a shill.
And she still lost, you know, based off of that. And Howard was speaking, I think, primarily to like a very small New York based liberal audience. So like, and plus like he was very much against Trump winning again. So I think he went very easy on her, just like he went very easy on Biden. And that was a time where like, I'm sure if Howard had pressed, like Biden would have just fallen apart in the studio. But what do you think that this portends? Because as Dutch said, Howard, Colbert, and to a certain extent, like Jimmy Kimmel and all these late night guys are completely irrelevant now. Nobody pays attention to them. They just go on YouTube.
Well, the idea that they're being canceled because this is Trump's administration silencing these businesses is absurd. Yeah. The reason why you're being canceled, Howard, is because you do not make as much money as you're asking for. It is just a bad business practice to have an employee that makes more money than what they bring in, at least long term. Same with Colbert and anyone else that is being fired from their job on media. It's not because you talked negatively about Trump. It's because the jig is up. You didn't bring enough money in, and after so many years of losing money, these businesses have to at some point answer to their stockholders, and they need to make some money. You're going to get fired if you continually cost the company money. That's just the way it works. And Howard Stern hasn't been relevant in a very, very long time. In fact, my most burned in memory is probably listening to Howard Stern while I was working the graveyard shift at a print shop in LA when the Twin Towers came down, right before I joined the military. I remember that because like all I listened to for a while was Howard because he was the only guy on at 3 a.m. at my time, right? 3 or 4 a.m. I remember sitting there and I'm printing a bunch of posters for some really bougie, out of touch artist. No offense, Howard. And I'm sitting there working and I hear his crazy voice come over the air and he starts emotionally describing what he saw on 9/11. And it really got to me. And it's a burned in memory. In fact, it's probably the reason I joined the military. I realized like I'm wasting my life. Let's go, be patriotic. Well, since then, though, I've tried to listen to Howard. I'm not going to sign up to Sirius to listen to Howard. So the only time I ever got the chance to was when I bought a new car and Sirius came with the car. And once that trial was up, there wasn't enough interesting information happening for me to keep the subscription. And I'm someone who watched it, I listened to it and watched it for years when I was an edgy teen. Once I became an adult and I realized how the real world works, Howard Stern became less and less interesting. I think a lot of people are growing up and either you're, room temperature IQ and you find his humor actually funny, or you've gotten older and you realize that he's not funny and that the people on his show that were funny are gone. Artie Lang is gone. That guy was genuinely, objectively funny. He's gone. In fact, the people that usually upstage Howard, they're gone within years, very quickly. Howard doesn't like to be upstaged. So Howard used to be this rebel that all of us applauded, whether we agree with his politics or not. He was a rebel fighting for free speech. The same dude that literally told people for years to question everything is the same guy that in the last 8 years told you to not question the vaccine, told you to not question Democrats, and had a major case of TDS. The guy went from the king of all media to a clown working for the man. And so I've lost all respect for the dude. I've lost all interest in his work. And I wouldn't be surprised if he came on YouTube and ended up with a few 100,000 subscribers and a Bill O'Reilly style show that no one watched.
It would be interesting to see how many people did sub to his channel.
Yeah, at least we would actually see his numbers.
Yeah.
Like, you think 100 million people are listening to Howard Stern on Sirius? I don't think Sirius has 100 million subscribers.
They don't.
Well, Odin, speaking of the economics behind Sirius, so like I remember back when Howard Stern was on Clear Channel, which was a CBS-owned radio network, by the way. And basically, he got in trouble with the SEC, and Les Moonves at the time, who was in charge of CBS, decided to cancel him, just like he decided to cancel Star Trek and a bunch of other stuff. And at that time, if you got kicked off of radio, there was really nowhere else for you to go. And so I remember like the big hubbub about it, the big controversy. And at the time, Sirius was a very small competitor to XM radio, which was the first satellite radio which had like Snoop Dogg and a couple other like big names associated with it. And the guy who was running Sirius at the time basically swooped in, offered Howard a contract, and Howard brought his massive audience with him over to Sirius. And that's kind of the thing that laid the foundation for Sirius to kind of like grow and eventually merge with XM radio, and they became SiriusXM. And so Howard was really the guy who built the current, SiriusXM business. And so it made sense at the time, I think, to like keep him on board and keep him happy. But over time, with the advent of like stuff like Spotify, streaming in your car, podcast in particular, where now you have like so many more options than what was on radio at the time. Because at the time, it's just like, well, whoever's on radio at the time I'm in my car, like that's who I'm listening to.
Yeah.
But now you can literally on demand listen to any type of podcast on YouTube and Spotify and stuff like that. And I know that, Odin, you probably didn't listen to Howard because of his naughtiness. But if people like that, like, Pornhub has their own podcast. There's a bunch of like there's the Stiff Socks podcast where you got guys interviewing porn stars. And that was kind of like Howard's gig, right? Like, so like now there's actual competition for it and there's like a lot more selection. So it makes sense to me that Sirius kind of looked at the economics of this and be like, hey, our lunch is getting eaten by podcasts. We can't afford to pay Howard $100 million anymore because he's not bringing in the audience numbers that we need or that he used to. So what's your take on Howard Stern basically losing his show on Sirius?
Well, we have to just make very clear that he has not officially lost it yet. This is still kind of just speculation at this point because his contract is up this year. And the rumors coming out, the leaks are saying that they're not going to re-up it. And again, it makes complete sense that they wouldn't, because again, $100 million for him at this point in his career is just a waste of money. So just to kind of put that out there. But then also I was interested to find out more about kind of the numbers behind it, because similar to how Dutch was talking about, yeah, for me, for SiriusXM, I've only ever known about it because it comes with cars, right? It comes with a car. If it's brand new, if you're renting a car, typically it comes with SiriusXM because the rentals will sometimes have an active subscription for whatever reason. And I looked into it. And so apparently it has, as of June of this year, 33 million paid subscribers, but 160 million monthly listeners. Now, that apparently includes Pandora's streaming, which is 40 million of its active users. So if you kind of take that out there, that means 120 million people are listening to SiriusXM and only 33 million are paid. So you're talking about more than double of the, like twice the amount of their paid subscribers are listening for free because of the free plans. Now, again, I imagine they probably get some money from the car company or some, whatever group they have. Maybe there's ad revenues, that go into that as well. But that's not a very good ratio to start. And also, apparently, their numbers have been declining as well as time has gone on. What's even worse for them is that the largest age demographic that they have is 45 to 54. And that they've always apparently struggled to get the sub 34 group to join the platform. So the fact that their biggest audience currently is 45 to 54, I also know that my parents have it and are paying for it. And it's hilarious to listen to them justify it, because it basically comes down to, well, because I want to listen to this and there's a channel for it. And I'm like, yeah, you can find that on YouTube as well.
There's
I don't understand all that YouTube channel stuff. It's just boomers. Like boomers are the ones basically keeping this service alive.
It's
and
crazy because YouTube is easier than Sirius.
I know.
And you know what's really
Sirius
funny?
is complicated.
I know.
About Sirius is there was when I did have it, when I first got my car, I tried to listen to it for a little while because I had it. I might as well check it out. But so I would go to there's a block there, like 4 or 5 heavy metal stations. You got your butt band channel, you got your really dark metal channel, and your Aussie channel, and your new stuff, and every single one of them, don't matter really what channel it is, they play the same shit over and over, and there's like a 15 song rotation.
Yep,
and that's it.
It's what I like.
I was listening to a stand-up comedy channel when I got my car at first, because I wasn't listening to Howard, that's for sure. And dude, they had like the same like 6 specials, like the same 6 3-hour comedy specials on repeat. I don't think they expect people to notice, because people go, well, I go to work, in the morning, and I come home from work, and I listen to my car. But then people like us who have like different schedules, where we're listening to it all day where we're working, we're like, dude, I just listened to this.
Yeah. So just
3 hours.
There's way better things out there. It's like, well, so just an example of what I do is, and anybody can do this. My daughter has a Spotify family premium plan, and you get like 8, 9, or 10 keys that you dish out with that. It's like $15 a month or something like that. Yeah. And everybody in the family can get their own freaking thing on it. And it's great. There is nothing I cannot find on Spotify. That I can't find. Absolutely. It's really good for podcasts too.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's funny, guys, is when Sirius first debuted, like their big selling value proposition was commercial-free music. Yep. You didn't have to sit there and listen to those obnoxious radio commercials. You could just listen to music all day long. Mm-hmm. And now, guess what? They have commercials. Yep.
So why you even paid for it anymore?
Yeah, exactly. Get YouTube Premium, like gets rid of all the commercials, all that good stuff.
But to kind of push back a little bit about it being easier, for us it's easier to get YouTube and YouTube Music, Spotify, things like that. But I could see why for a boomer, it's already integrated into their car. Mm-hmm. So they turn the little dial and it's like, oh, it tells me exactly what the station is, exactly what's playing. That is easier for them versus, wait, I have so many options and so many choices. I'm now overwhelmed because my brain cannot compute
also,
it.
Most of the boomers just listen to the news channels that stream directly to Sirius. So like CNN,
I understand
Fox
that
News.
Yeah.
I understand getting overwhelmed with a lot of flash and buttons and stuff, because it happens to me all the time. I'll sit in that office that Cadis is in there, the computer next to him that you can't see, and something will come up, go, hey, can you do this for me? And something will come up and I'll go, buttons, lights, flashy things everywhere. My brain will just shut down. And I'm like, I don't know what to do here. But yeah, no, that's a real thing. I get that. So
fun random fact, I actually got to visit the Spotify studios when I was in college because I took a class intro to radio. And it was really kind of interesting to see the offices. We got to see a couple of their recording studios. There was one that we could only see from behind a glass panel because there was a show that was live at the time. So it was like, again, really, really cool to see that. But that was also back in 2009, 2010. So that would have been, kind of during the heyday, I guess you could say, probably near their peak. And so I imagine the office probably doesn't look anything like it used to.
Yeah.
Well, what's funny is SiriusXM is actually like putting a lot of money into like their podcasting stuff. In fact, I think they gave the Call Her Daddy girl like this big $100 million exclusivity deal or something like that.
It's insane.
Yeah. So like they're not afraid to throw around money, but I think it's very telling that like the legendary Howard Stern isn't going to get that. Although to Odin's point, like that this is a rumor because his contract's ending. I have heard that they're thinking about offering him like a lump sum for his catalog, like all of his previous episodes, so that they can keep playing those. But I don't think they want to go forward with continuing to produce his show.
Or they'll offer him a contract. Like it's the thing where you hear like it's an offer you cannot refuse. That's like it's an offer that he can refuse type of situation is most likely what would happen to, where it's so low that even though he has all the money in the world and probably doesn't really need anything, if they go from 100 million to like, let's say they even offer him 10, 25 million, it would be something where it's like, nope.
Yeah. Well, guys, unlike Howard Stern, we do need money here at the Salty Nerd Podcast. And I want to thank Tim Hayes for becoming a YouTube member. I believe that brings us up to 5. So we need 5 more. Otherwise, Dutch is going to quit, guys. So
wow.
Also, Mexican Iron Man for $4.99. Sup, nerds? Don't think I forgot about you. I'm at Universal Orlando all week with Mexican Iron Kid. P.S. Disney sucks.
Was there some landscaping jobs they needed to do there or something?
My buddy's a chef at that restaurant. I'll DM you. You should go check it out.
All right. And Kenneth LaRoque, a member for 9 months. Thank you so much, Kenneth, for being with us for that long. That's great. And this isn't a super chat, but I believe somebody wanted to address this. Basically, hilarious that the moment USAID money dries up, all these progressive news outlets start firing the hosts that lose these companies money by the boatload.
Yeah.
I seriously wonder how much money was given. And it is kind of coming to the forefront that USAID was a tax fund laundering scheme back to Democrat, politicians and propaganda arms and stuff like that. And I do think that those 4 years where Biden was in office, Trump was sitting there, discovering all the deep state stuff, so that when he got back in office, like he could dismantle it. But ever since Doge discovered the USAID fraud, it has been interesting to see that these people like Howard Stern, Stephen Colbert getting canceled, the Views going away. Pretty sure that's happening. All these lawsuits that Trump levied against George Stephanopoulos and stuff like that for slander or libel, whichever
he's
one
winning,
it was.
and they don't have the money to continue the lawsuit. How interesting is that?
And for the first time ever, Act Blue can't raise funds. Democrats are having a hard time raising campaign funds.
Yeah. Huh.
It's very suspicious.
Can I just jump in real quick? The thing is, we don't know if they funded all this stuff, but we all find it very confusing as to where they're getting their money, right? Before USAID. We were like, well, maybe they're hiring these people because it raises their ESG scores and they get more of that dark ESG score money and investments. Maybe it's because, and we all had these ideas that we would throw out there, like, how are they making money? That you can't just lose money for a decade and be solvent. But then USAID popped up and we're like, oh, there's the missing piece. And maybe we're totally wrong and this is just giant conspiracy theory. But dude, it is so convenient that this USAID popped up and you pair that with the ESG investments and the BlackRock nonsense. You're like, oh, I get it. I know now how they can continually pay Howard Stern $100 million a year, Colbert, millions and millions, The View millions and millions, but they're never making that return because it's not about the advertising revenue or the subscribers or how many people you got to sign up on your service. It's all about that dark money, USAID, ESG, and BlackRock. And now that ESG is being burned to the ground, USAID has been upended, the money is drying up. And now you need to actually make money to keep your job. And these liberals are figuring out that they don't make any money.
Yeah, and it's funny because NPR and PBS also got defunded, and they've gone away because apparently no one in the public wanted to support them. And I think it's interesting because all these companies that kind of cater to the far left of the political spectrum, they tend to realize that the far left is very loud, but they're not very loyal, right? So they don't put their money where their mouth is. They don't support stuff. They're more than happy to boycott stuff, but when it comes to actually supporting things, it's they'll publicly say it, but then most of them are broken out of work anyway, so they don't want to put their money anywhere.
They need to make the same money as the men. Like, okay, go to the games. Oh, hold on. That's a lot of commitment. Watching on TV. It's not on at my time. Watch clips on YouTube. I'm not sure where to find them. Okay, well, shut up. That's the answer. You're not going to support something with anything but lip service. And that's what a lot of liberals do. They will not support things with their actual money or time. They'll complain about it and they'll be real super loud, but they don't actually have any teeth. They're just gumming at everything, like
Indeed.
Biden.
But speaking of gumming about stuff, guys, did you know that James Gunn is going to direct the next super quote family movie?
Oh yeah.
James Gunn, I guess this was announced by David Zaslav. He basically said Superman did great. He loved the movie, and that he has enlisted James Gunn to write the next installment in the Super Family franchise. And I find this kind of interesting because I thought the next one was going to be Supergirl.
That's already done. It's in post.
But then it also asks the question, it's okay, it's not going to be a Superman sequel, even though Superman's going to be involved in it. So the question now becomes like, who's in the super family that is now going to get a movie treatment from James Gunn? So I wanted to get some theories from the panel. Let's start with you, Brian, since you're obviously the DC expert on the panel.
We don't know if it's going to be a Superman 2 or not. We don't know what it's going to be, and I don't think Zaslav knows what the movie's going to be after Supergirl. It could be Superman 2. It can also be a Wonder Woman film. It's definitely not going to be Batman, because that's too close to the Batman.
Pattinson.
Yeah, the Pattinson crap. But more than likely, it'll be someone from the core pillars of DCU. So either it's a Superman 2 or a Wonder Woman. If I had to guess.
Could it be a Superboy?
No.
Why not?
No. It's way too early for a Superboy. David Cornsweet is so young, you can look at him and be like, that's a Superboy.
There's a Supergirl.
Have you never seen
Supergirl's already
Brightburn?
happening. Like, that's in post right now. Like, they're finishing that movie.
Yeah, but it's a super family movie, so it'll be Supergirl, Superman, and Krypto. And the Super Gang. And the Justice Gang of retards. So
listen, they're not going to do a Krypto movie by himself. I think it's probably Superman 2.
They've already done a Crypto movie. Have you ever watched the animated Super Friends?
Super Pets. Yeah.
Super Pets. That's a great movie, by the way.
It's either Superman 2 or Wonder Woman. Those are the only two reasonable options. It can't be Batman. Supergirl is already happening. Those are the only two options if you're trying to stick to the core. Or maybe he goes full comic and he actually gives us an Aquaman. But no one really wants
you better
to
have
watch
an
that,
orange suit and blonde hair.
It's too close to Flash. No one wants to watch another Aquaman movie right now. It's probably going to be Superman 2. And in fact, it makes sense that you build on the success of Superman and keep that going. It would have been nice if we got Man of Steel 2, after Wonder Woman, before Batman vs Superman, before these crazy team movies. Like, actually build the character and the universe out slowly. The model is there. Just go back to MCU Phase 1, 2, and 3. And just copy what they did. Can we just have movies?
Can we just have an animated movie of Krypto and the robots from the Fortress of Solitude? That's all I want. That'd be really good.
Brian, I do hate to point out that in Young Justice, Superboy was a clone of Superman, and they've already introduced the idea of Superman being cloned. So I wouldn't be surprised.
It's too soon, bro. That's too nerdy.
Soon.
You act as if he has a good plan.
Like, there's a limit to how sweaty you can be in these movies and still get general audience support. That's too sweaty.
Can we? Right, I want a Superman movie where Krypto, Supergirl, Superman are just sitting there eating dinner, while outside the window the Justice retards are fighting some intergalactic thing, and it's just, but it's just not that big of a deal. So they're just gonna keep eating their dinner.
Is it serious? Is it funny? Who knows?
But you know what, Dutch? That is an excuse as to why Superman doesn't always show up to help other superheroes out.
It's not worth my time.
Yeah,
no big deal.
Exactly.
Just this giant skyscraper-sized monster out there.
I want to throw this to Odin, because one of the interesting things one of the interesting things about this article is how David Zaslav and James Gunn seem to believe that Superman was enough of a hit that they're going to keep going forward with their strategy here. And you're our box office expert, so I want to get your take on what are the numbers behind this that they seem so rosy about.
I think a lot of it is more so goodwill, because even if you assume the budget is $225, like the reports are saying, they still haven't made their money back. Again, assuming the numbers that they are reporting are accurate, that means they still have not made their money back. So I don't know exactly where there is coming from. That they might be thinking, well, okay, our VOD sales are going to be at a certain level, our 4K sales are going to be at a certain level, because there's clearly a passionate fan base for this film. Like, that's clearly there. But it reminds me a lot of the old school DCEU fan base, where, yeah, there was still a passionate fan base there too, but the films never reached the same level that the MCU was able to reach, and they were always just kind of missing something with the audience in some ways and in some respects. Of course, the big issue with Superman that's being exposed, and it's not just Superman, it's also Fantastic Four as well, is that the international audiences are not really interested in these movies, or at the very least in these specific films, because they're not showing up for really either of them in any significant way. The split between domestic and international for Superman is still massive. I think last I checked, it was like $100 million more domestically than internationally. That's an insane number split to see. Financially, it's better because you get more money back. But as I said, even with that split, you're still not getting any profit yet. So I don't really know exactly what it is that what they're going to do going forward, because all I look to is that he was brought on to be someone that was supposed to right the ship, that was supposed to kind of get things more organized, but it's still just as chaotic as it was before, right? Because he mentioned it like, oh, the Batman's coming out, but it's not his Batman. So it's this whole Elseworlds thing. Well, for a normal audience, they're going to say, what the hell is an Elseworld? Like, what the hell is that supposed to mean? This is a Batman movie. This should be Batman. You just had a Superman movie. They should be connected in some way. That's what normie audiences are going to be thinking. And that type of clarity is just not going to be there. What is the next project after this? The next project is Peacemaker. Oh, yeah, because that just makes sense. You have a Superman movie, and now you're doing Peacemaker Season 2. Okay. Yeah, that's what everyone's going to be wanting to go see, right? Is, the families that are going to see Superman are just going to go ahead and watch Peacemaker, which is not for families. So it honestly, to me, it's like I don't really think it matters what he does next, because I don't think that this film is the jumping off point that many people think that it is, because, as I said, the numbers just aren't there. And I know people are like, I've seen a lot of like older YouTubers especially saying, you can't compare this to movies that came out 10 years ago, and you can't do this, you can't do that. It's like, yeah, well, yes, you can. And the fact is, this movie is not going to make as much as the Batman did. The fact is that this movie is not going to make as much as even, going back to the DCEU movies, or sell as many tickets to it. And I think that is something that they're going to have to deal with. And as I said, the fact still remains, they have not yet made their money back, and that's assuming the budget that they have put out there is accurate.
But Odin,
I'm not. I'm being honest.
Odin, it's post-COVID, dude. Don't you know?
I know, right? It's
post-COVID.
First off, that's a real fucking thing. You don't know what the marketing budget for this is. All you know, numbers-wise, is exactly what the budget was tax-wise, $225. You have no fucking clue if they've made money or if they've made their money yet. You don't know. So when you talk like you do know, it's so fucking disingenuous, bro. You don't fucking know.
Listen,
again, I'm giving the benefit of the doubt to.
No, you aren't. Actually,
yes, I am.
You're doing exactly what these fucking freaks on Twitter do.
I have literally
and
the
you're
numbers
adding
in a chart
that
with
you
calculations.
Don't have access to.
They reported the budget. They reported the budget.
225 is the only number you have,
and
bro.
guess what? Marketing, at least bare minimum, is you take half the budget and add it on. But again, even if you take that into account,
for my heart, I'm gonna just stop talking.
Listen,
I think you're full of shit.
I'm being actually honest. Again, I could be more honest. I could be more honest and say there's no way that budget's 225. Again, I'm sorry, but like that, I think that number is complete crap. But to say like, oh, we don't know what the marketing is okay, we have a pretty good idea what most films spend on marketing, especially films that cost this amount, even at 225. It's just like with Disney Marvel, right? Disney Marvel, they say their film costs 200. Guess what? That isn't true either. They filmed in the United Kingdom. We're going to find out real quick what their actual budget was. But again, even assuming they spent, $100 million on their budget, even though the reports are that they spent at least $150 million, guess what? They're still massive losses as well. So again, Superman is very much winning the battle between it and Fantastic Four. Superman is going to, again, be profitable because it is, I think, it is going to make money in VOD sales and Blu-ray. Sure. But the fact is, as of right now, the theatrical release has not made its money back.
No,
it still could. It's still
you
again.
Do not
you
know
can
that.
disagree, but the numbers speak for themselves.
No, bro, because you're making an offensive statement. What you should say, in my opinion, they're not going to make their money back. Not they haven't made their money back because you don't fucking know. You only have access to the tax records. You don't know what they made on marketing. You don't know what they made on licensing. You don't know. Like you have to admit, Odin, that you don't have that information.
Again,
why are you guys fighting with each other? We're all friends here. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I know. I love you.
It's my
bad. I have these arguments all day on Twitter. I don't want to have it here too.
The best thing, it just dawned on me. The best thing that's going to come out of this new Superman franchise is that James Gunn is just a freak to do this too, right? He's already set up that we're basically in the Super Friends world, right? The Justice League with the same building.
No, it's
and all
Super
this stuff.
Friends.
It's the Super Friends from 1970s. Yeah. It's the Hall of Justice. So what does that mean? We're gonna get? It means we're gonna get the Wonder Twins.
No,
right?
No, shut
we're
up.
We're gonna get the fucking Wonder Twins.
Why not?
Shut up.
Yeah, they're doing Peacemaker as their second thing.
We're getting the fucking shut up. I'm not done. We're getting the Wonder Twins. We're getting stupid blonde-haired, orange-colored Aquaman, and best of all, best of all, guys, we're gonna get Apache Chief. Okay,
No,
and it's going to be fantastic.
First off,
Brian-
we're definitely
Patrick
getting
Chief,
orange
he's
and gold Aquaman. 100% agree with you on that.
Brian, James Gunn already made Batmite canon.
Dude, it's happening.
Yeah.
It's the
Okay.
Wonder Twins are
There's
coming.
no
And also
Form
think
of
about what's
ice
coming up.
plants and
Wonder
water
Twins.
buckets. Okay.
Not only do
Water
we
bucket.
In
not
the
only do we have
form of
Peacemaker
ice cubes.
as the next thing, but then also we also have a Elseworlds Clayface movie. So you can't say that they're not going to do it, because if they're going to make a Clayface
is
thing,
part of the Batman.
The big bad
crash.
in the next Super Family movie is Mr. Mitchell Blick or whatever the fuck his name is. Okay, and it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, he's going to be the Thanos of this world.
Yeah, listen,
Mr. Mitchell.
I would die happy if we got Mr. Mix-a-Plick-a-Plick.
Mitchell Blick. Yeah.
Dutch. So basically, the rollout here is going to be Peacemaker season 2,
Yeah.
Supergirl, the Lanterns TV show, and then Clayface, and then that's going to go back into the new Super Family movie.
The Mitchell Blick saga. Dun dun dun.
Yeah, the Mitzelplick saga. So what do you take about that? I'm actually kind of looking forward to Lanterns, and I loved Peacemaker season 1, so I'm looking forward to that. And it sounds like Peacemaker season 2 is going to be bridging the gap between the Zack Snyder universe and the one that James Gunn's trying to create, because it is a multiverse type thing. So what's your take on that lineup?
I mean, I don't know. It sounds kind of goofy and crazy, to be perfectly honest with you. This Peacemaker show is about him jumping from his universe into the current Superman universe or something like that. Am I wrong there?
Different universe.
Yeah,
universe.
but he's jumping. He's like the same Peacemaker from the last show is going to be
it's using the
universes into the new one.
It's using the Flash's multiverse.
Yeah,
and it's introducing that to Peacemaker.
Okay, I mean, it'll be interesting to see the tonal change if they have one in the Peacemaker series. Maybe it's a little more family friendly. I don't know. I really don't know.
I doubt it.
Look, man, this whole James Gunn DCU, I am 100% a spectator that has no skin in this game. I don't give a crap what they do with it, because it's just, I'm not a DC guy. This is just fun to me. You know, it's like, I really hope, I was kind of kidding earlier when I said this is the Super Friends from my cartoons when I was a kid, but it is. And I want to see what Gunn does with it. And it would not shock me, in complete honesty, if he does put Apache Chief and the Wonder Twins and these people in this fucking thing. I mean, come on, dude. They got Polka Dot Man in these fucking movies.
Yeah, but he made Polka Dot Man cool. It worked. There's no way you make Wonder Twins cool. It's the worst superheroes of all time.
Yeah, and that's
Condiment Man was cooler than the Wonder
They
Twins.
shanked Polka Dot Man. He was cool, and then they shanked him.
No,
I mean,
really
the
cool in that movie.
DCU
God, that
is
movie was
they could get so absurd. They could get so absurd and make it really fun, or they can make it really silly and stupid too.
I do want to throw this back to Brian real quick, because despite all the Gunn hate on this panel, he said something where basically he was like, we don't want people being bored. We want artists and directors and the writers to create something that is their own, but true to the source material. And that's something that's very different than what the strategy Marvel's following. So I want to get your take on do you think that that's the right way to go with this, is to hire creative people and then just hand them the reins?
Yeah, hire people that like the source material. Hire people that like the comics, that enjoy the characters, that have interest in it, that actually want to create these movies and bring to life things that they've already enjoyed, and to tell new stories based on the characters that they love. Not, I'm going to make this my own version of this character. No, make the character we already like. Just tell a cool story. I don't think it's that hard, in my opinion. It's not that hard. I think hiring the right people, and as long as they give Gunn a script that is good and that fits in the universe, then let them run with it, dude. Like, let them have fun.
One thing I'm definitely on board with Gunn's strategy is basically he's like, we're not going into production until we have a finished script.
Yeah.
And that's something that executives can all look at and be like, okay, we're all on the same page. We know what type of movie we're making.
I was shocked. I was shocked to find out that wasn't the norm.
Yeah. No, it's very normal to kind of go into production without a finished script. But one of the interesting things that broke this week is the fact that Batman Part 2, starring Robert Pattinson as Batman, and Matt Reeves is coming back, and they're bringing back the Penguin, and it's going to tie into the end of the Penguin season 1 and all this other stuff, is now going to start filming in the spring and this is going to be a October 1st, 2027 release. So about 2 years from now. Essentially, the reason that this has taken so long is that James Gunn was waiting to see a finished script from Matt Reeves, and he finally turned one in, and James Gunn was like, you know what, I like this, we're going to go forward with it. Odin, what's your take on the Batman Part 2 getting the green light to go forward?
It's taken way too long at this point, and it just, to me, reminds me of how everything with the DC universe is still so much in shambles, and it's still so confusing, and it's going to be, I think, a lot more confusing for people as more and more properties, start to come out. I was also one that, the first 10, 15 minutes of the Batman were really awesome. The rest of it was and then the very end just sucked. From the very moment that you had the Riddler going, "Hey guys," speaking to his online audience of incels YouTube space. God,
literally QAnon. Right?
Yeah, the whole "hey guys" stuff. I just every time on my stream, someone brings it up. I was like, "Hey guys." Oh, it just made me so upset. But yeah, honestly, I think it's gonna be a little bit too late. Who knows? Very well could still be a fun movie. But we'll see exactly what the goodwill of the audience is by that point. Also, we'll see what the internationals are doing by then, because internationals have really been rejecting a lot of these big budget films as of late. So we'll see what's going on with it by then.
Brian, what confuses me is that James Gunn is still moving forward with his version of Batman, in addition to the Matt Reeves version of Batman. So, like, what do you think is the thought here behind two different Batman universes?
So I actually think there might be something else going on. I'm part of a group of, I can't actually say any more than that. I could say this. I almost said something that would have gotten me kicked out of the group. I think that there might be some actual validation to the Pattinson. And I hate this so much because I freaking hate the Pattinson movies. I think there might be actually some truth to Gunn maybe attempting to fold in the Pattinson stuff into the DCU. That may be happening because from what I've heard, the people that they were testing for Batman wasn't going as planned. I'm really being careful what I'm saying, but I do believe that they may actually try, or at least they're speaking about, or they're talking about bringing Pattinson into the DCU in some way. Because first off, I would rather a new Batman. I don't like Pattinson. I don't like Reeves. I don't like any of that universe. I literally hate the Batman. I dislike the Penguin series. I hate how dark it is. I just hate it. It's not my cup of tea. It feels like watching a Marvel film that is slightly better at tone. I'm just not interested in this version of Batman. So I would rather there be a new Batman that's more comic books accurate and less fucking emo. But I can see a timeline, a future where that character is actually folded in to the new DCU proper.
Did you just go after the Penguin? Penguin was a great show.
Penguin was good.
I heard
it was very well done. I just had no interest. Every episode I liked was well made. The characters were good. The story was good. I just never wanted to watch the next episode.
This wasn't for you, huh?
You know what was the best thing about it too?
I thought, I can't wait to watch more.
You know what the best thing about it was? It was tonally consistent. Something that James Gunn's Superman does not have.
Yeah, Brian, you're not allowed to have that opinion, dude.
Sorry, guys.
You're not allowed.
It was a well-made show. I just had no interest in watching it. You know when you go to binge something, you're like, oh, I can't wait. I gotta go to sleep. Too bad. Can't wait to watch episode 6 or whatever. I would literally forget about the Penguin week to week. So,
well, Dutch, what's interesting about this Batman timing is when the Batman Part 2 comes out in 2027, it's going to be at least 2 more years until Gunn can release his version of Batman, right? Because let's say the Batman Part 2 is the end of the saga for the Matt Reeves Batman verse. It's James Gunn can't have his Batman come out the next year. There's got to be at least a 2-year gap. So we're probably not going to get.
Are people really that stupid that they can't decipher the difference?
Yes.
Between 2 different Batman shows. I mean, come on.
Probably. Yeah.
I don't believe the people in general are really that unintelligent.
But I would say
tell the difference between the 2 people.
I would say we're probably not going to get James Gunn's version of Batman until 2030. Honestly.
So when I'm 90 years old, that's not good. But no, whatever. I really don't care. It is what it is. I'm kind of. I liked a lot of that. The angsty young Batman show. What was it called? Just the Batman, right? With the sparkly vampire dude. That's what we're talking about, right?
Yeah, Robert
the movie,
Pattinson.
Yeah. I didn't like
Super
him,
dark.
but I didn't like him as Batman. But I liked pretty much everything else about that world. I feel like they just cast the wrong guy as Batman. I like the dark. I like the grown up Batman world. It just felt really atmospheric and really kind of a cool setting. And
were you able to actually see everything going on screen? Because I had a problem where I don't know. See
I don't remember. Dark. I feel like I kind of need to watch it again because I haven't seen it in a while. But I remember liking a lot of this movie. But
the casting for Catwoman was horrible.
Yeah, I didn't like that. But there was a lot of parts of this movie that I did like, and I it is what it is. Like any movie, you like some of it, you dislike some of it. But I think they need to let him finish his story. I mean, who cares? I mean, a lot of people like the Bale Batman too, right? And some people don't like. I don't really know anybody who dislikes that one, but it's the same kind of thing. I mean, we've had different Batmans. I don't see what the problem is with having different Batman franchises going on at the same time. It's a little confusing, but it's not a lot.
Batman wasn't a good movie. It was objectively not a good movie.
This is James Gunn.
Brian, you don't have the facts in front of you, so you need to say, in my opinion, the Batman was not a good movie.
No, objectively, it was a bad
Superman.
movie. I'll tell you why. You couldn't see anything.
You don't know that for sure, Brian. You don't know that for sure. Okay, you don't have.
How did I see the thing?
You don't have the data. You don't have the data, Brian.
I think I just like
maybe you turn the contrast up on your
of
television because I couldn't see anything in that theater.
Hey,
it was horrible.
it was a lot clearer than the Game of Thrones season 8 episode.
That was bad.
It was a hell of a lot better than that.
That felt like they were actually trying to hide the bad stuff.
Yeah,
they need to get their lighting set up. So
you know what we're not hiding
lighting,
you guys know what we're not hiding are super chats. Yeah. We got Kaliki Oki for $2. Brian, your tastes are kind of dog shit sometimes.
Hey man, look, I can front and just follow the panel here, but I gotta be honest with you. And I will leave YouTube before I'm dishonest. I hated the Batman. Period. At the end, I thought it was a shitty movie, and it's not beyond me that the characters in the film, like Robert Pattinson was fine, not a very good Bruce Wayne, but fine as Batman. But dude, Catwoman, horrible casting, way too dark. The villains were bad. So much about that movie was just boring. It was boring, and I didn't understand the stakes. And
can you clarify?
After watching the 3 Nolan movies, watching that was like,
Brian, let me ask you this question.
You gotta clarify.
From steak to a hot dog, bro.
You said Catwoman was too dark. Can you please clarify what you mean by that statement? Because it can go one of two ways.
Yeah, he said the movie was too dark.
The movie was too dark, but also Catwoman was too dark.
What was
listen, I have nothing against the woman, but she
Zoe
doesn't
Kravitz?
look like Catwoman. I'm sorry. Don't she look like Catwoman?
In your opinion.
Jesus Christ.
In your opinion.
Objectively look like Catwoman. Look at the comics.
She's a fictional character. She can look however we want her to look.
Whatever. Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna change the industry, man.
Brian, what was?
Hey,
what was
I also
more
wasn't a huge
boring?
fan of Batman because of the ending, though. That was
The
specifically
ending
the
was
reason why.
horrible. I'm sorry.
Brian,
But it led into Penguin. Led into Penguin.
what was
All
more
right, guys?
boring? Let me fucking talk. Jesus Christ.
You have an outro.
Blessed
here,
be his
Dutch.
name. Blessed
Hard
be his
out.
name.
Man. Brian, what was more boring, Andor or the Batman? That's all I
Andor.
want to know.
By far, Andor. Sorry,
You guys are all crazy.
I will never. I would die in this hill. Andor is straight up.
In your
boring.
opinion, you don't have the facts, Brian.
You can go live
You
in
don't
your
have the facts.
commune with your 20 members who also happen to like Andor, who actually watch the show. You can go live with
Andor
them.
was horrible. It's so slow. The guy is walking down a hallway for like 7 minutes.
Well,
and
you
Katie's
guys,
like, this is brilliant filmmaking.
it was brilliant. You guys know what wasn't boring was this show. We had a lot to talk about today, and we talked about it. Odin from O&B Reviews. Any final thoughts, and where can people find more of you?
Yeah, you can find me over at OMB Reviews on YouTube, Rumble, X/Twitter, and it's always fun. And just for people to know for sure, I love Brian, and
I love
it's
Odin.
all in good fun.
Where did the chat on the bottom of the screen come from?
Brian,
What?
Yeah.
that my
Brian
chat?
from the podcast. That is your chat. Yeah.
How did I get there?
I don't know.
I don't know.
But I did it when I had my temper tantrum.
Yeah.
it was
You
I think hit a
might have
button,
done it.
I don't know
You
how
might
I
have
did
done
it.
it, Dutch.
I don't know how to
Oh,
do it.
Dutch and technology don't mix. Brian from the
No.
podcast. Any
Hey.
final thoughts, and tell us more about where people can find the Brain Show.
Brain Show starts in like 4 minutes. I love Odin. Listen, Odin and I disagree on a lot of stuff, but we are bros. Like, we've talked in private. I enjoy spending time with everyone on this panel, especially Odin. And the couple weeks that I wasn't here, I was like, damn, I miss talking to Odin. Even though we disagree like 75% of the time, we can disagree and still have a conversation as bros. And we are bros. You're my brother.
Just be glad Tom Connors Jr. wasn't here. Otherwise,
gosh, it would have been.
it would have
Listen,
been quite.
If Tom
quite
was here, I wouldn't have had to say anything. I would have just been like,
We'd still be talking about Gina. That's what.
Tom would have gone
Yeah,
off
that's
for like 20 minutes,
Yeah.
and I would have just been watching.
You'd have actually used the bathroom, I think.
Given the bottle a break.
Brain Show
Yeah.
starts in 3 minutes. Vicky, I'm about to pee in this bottle.
I love you
Yep.
guys.
And guys, through the power of technology, you will be automatically redirected to the Brain Show. So stay tuned for that. And Dutch Butters, anything going on with the gaming channel, and any final thoughts?
Yeah, on Monday morning we have a podcast coming out where we interview one of the developers for the upcoming game Jump Space. That's going to be a fun little game that's coming out, and weekly live streams and our Tuesday Helldivers podcast and all kinds of fun stuff going on over there. So yeah, it's going to be fun.
Awesome, man. And because we didn't hit our membership goal, this will be the last time you'll be seeing Dutch Butters.
Yeah, I'm
on
out.
The podcast.
Fuck all you guys. I'm done.
You guys didn't,
Screw
you
you.
guys-
He's done. He broke his
the
keyboard when he threw his
USAID
tantrum.
The USAID money is dried up. If you can't be
Done,
here,
I'm out.
then we gotta go.
I could be playing
Yeah.
video games right now. Battlefield
Exactly.
6 is calling me right now. I got to go.
Exactly.
So-
Dutch and Colbert, man, they got hurt by the USAID thing. I want to give a big shout out to John Yulden and Kaliki Oki and Mexican Iron Man for their super chats during today's show. Really appreciate you guys and your support. And stay tuned for next Saturday, where we will be back. Same salty time, same salty channel with more Salty Saturdays. And until next time, my friends, stay salty.